And now, Mr. Patterson, items 2427 and 2369, items 23 and 26.
I'll need to go after Mr. Patterson. I have a witness who has to leave.
Oh, okay. Definitely. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I appreciate the opportunity to present AB 2369. To begin with, I'd like to inform the committee that I am accepting the mock-up author amendments at the request of the Vice Chair, which strengthens the bill by setting the ballot date to this year's November election and takes out the firearm provision, which, by the way, we are all glad that recently strong gun language was moved out of this committee, and we are grateful for that and appreciate that positive movement. But unfortunately, we think that Prop 47 is not doing what it was supposed to do. We think that it is doing the opposite. We are seeing in communities up and down the state of California where criminals actually are making calculations to beat the rap, even adding up items to make sure that it's less than the $950 threshold. And the result is we think that the crime rates across the state of California recently directly connected to this. We've actually had police officers in Fresno who have stopped people in these acts while they actually had calculators determining when they would get to the 950, and then stash it and then go do another criminal event, but knowing that one incident at 950 or less was a misdemeanor, and yet doing it over and over again. We think that as we see more felony crimes turned into misdemeanors, we're seeing more felony-like crimes actually being committed. We see crimes like stealing guns, receiving and using stolen property over and over again, stealing from our local businesses in broad daylight over and over again. We have drug possession over and over again, methamphetamine, rape drugs. These are now misdemeanors, no matter how many times the same crime is committed by the same person. And even if that crime is committed several times in one day, as long as it's less than 950, it remains a misdemeanor. So we're seeing that they know that there is little, if any, punishment for committing these crimes. They know what they can get away with, and the activity of stealing, frankly, is calculated accordingly. And PPIC just had information, many of us have seen it, that the first half of last year we've seen crime across the state of California spiking. In Fresno, violent crime rates have increased 15%, in addition to large increases in burglaries and property theft. Sacramento led nationally in these increases, violent crime rates up 76% and 85% increase in property crimes. Los Angeles had a 54% increase in violent crime and a 145% increase in property crimes. San Francisco came in at 20.5% increase for violent crime, and I actually had to double check this PPIC data because it is 666% increase in property crime in San Francisco. And so California, I think the unintended consequences of 47 is really failing the safety of our neighborhoods and people who reside in it. So what AB 2369 would give discretion back to the court and law enforcement to increase penalties on serial offenders. Basically, 3 of these kinds of misdemeanors in a 3-year period would then give the opportunity for that to be a felony. We think that there's been this sort of unintended and perverse reality because the proponents of Prop 47, which was well intended, wish to emphasize treatment over punishment. But the lack of a threat of felony conviction has eliminated the incentive for criminals to attend drug treatment in exchange for a lesser penalty. This has led to a 50% drop in drug court participation in Fresno County, and Sacramento has seen a 40% decrease in drug courts. And so there is this unintended consequence and sort of this perverse reality that we think can be addressed with the items that are in this bill. I have here with me today Assistant Sheriff Bob Kandarian from Fresno, and also we have Dale Mendoza, who's president of Valley Crime Stoppers, to testify on their experience with these unintended consequences.
So you have 4 people here, so you have 2 witnesses, 2 minutes apiece, or 4 witnesses, 1 minute apiece. How you plan to divide up your time?
This is staff.
Oh, okay.
This is our
okay.
sheriff from Crime Stoppers and from
Ivan Altimer with Capital Advocacy on behalf of California Retailers Association.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to request permission for 3?
2 minutes apiece.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Yeah, we're getting into time crunch here.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
Assistant Sheriff Bob Kandarian.
Good morning. My name is Assistant Sheriff Robert Kandarian from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. On behalf of Sheriff Margaret Mims, I want to voice our support for AB 2369. I also happen to be on the Crime Stoppers Board, so I'm doing double duty this morning. Since the passing of Prop 47, Fresno County has seen a large increase in crime following several years of declining crime rates. The passage of Prop 47, the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act, has created havoc within our communities. Suspects are no longer held accountable for their crimes, and drug addicts are no longer getting treatment for their disease because choosing diversion is no longer a realistic option for them. In Fresno County alone, burglary and property crimes went up 26% immediately after Prop 47 was enacted. Theft went up 9%. During the first quarter of this year, year to date, we are up 21% in burglary as opposed to last year, so the crime rate is continuing to climb in Fresno County. Drug addicts are no longer held on misdemeanor charges that used to be felonies. They continue to commit burglaries and robberies to support their habits. Without the passage of AB 2369, criminals will continue to prey on law-abiding citizens. The passage of 2369 will put teeth back into the law. Criminals will once again seek out diversion programs rather than go to prison on felony charges. Criminals will be held accountable for their crimes. Crime will go down, and the public will be safer. In conclusion, on behalf of Sheriff Mims, we thank and support Assemblyman Patterson on the creation of 2369. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dale Mendoza, Fresno County. From the Fresno County, I'm a business owner and president of Valley Crime Stoppers. I've been on the board for the last 20 years and president for the last 6 years. As head of a nonprofit that relies on donations to help law enforcement arrest criminals, we have seen the impact that increased crime has had on our community. Our crime rate is up, and it's not going to get any better. The criminals have figured it out, and they are getting away with it. We're an agricultural community down in Fresno in the Valley Arc. Our agricultural community is also suffering greatly losses through theft, everything from batteries to major equipment, diesel fuel, siphon pipes, and everything else. And that can only be costly and shut down production. Proposition 47 does not make our community safer. We need to amend this law. We need to give law enforcement a fair shot at protecting the citizens of California. Valley Crime Stoppers supports this amendment, and we support law enforcement and the safety of our community. At the end, I would like to say our community is scared. Our ladies in our schools are scared of what's happening in the surrounding areas. Through being a Crime Stoppers and what I see, we are scared. We would like to see some changes if there's a possible amendment to be made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members,
About 30 seconds. They did really good.
I will be very brief. Ivan Altimer on behalf of the California Retailers Association. As the author alluded to, retail is experiencing some significant increases in theft, and believe this is one of the unintended consequences of Prop 47. We think that AB 2369 takes reasonable steps in without eroding the original intent of the proposition by using the frequency of an offense within a specified period of time. We think that this is a good step forward in trying to solve some of the problems. So for these reasons, we strongly urge your support.
Thank you. Are there any witnesses in support, name, and organization?
Mr. Chairman, members, Randy Perry with Aaron Reed and Associates on behalf of PORAC in strong support of the bill. Thanks.
Thank you.
Asha Harris on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association in support.
Thank you.
Susan Blaze on behalf of Crime Stoppers, we're in support.
Thank you.
Good morning. Lynn Brown, Sacramento Crime Alert, California Crime Stoppers. We echo the testimony here, and we're in strong support.
Thank you.
Jonathan Feldman, California Police Chiefs Association in support.
Sean Hoffman, California District Attorneys Association in support.
Thank you. Are there anyone testifying in opposition to the bill?
United for Responsible Budget, CURB, in strong opposition. This bill is based on fear-mongering and is contrary to the will of the voters also.
Okay.
Thank you.
So are there two witnesses that, okay, come forward. It's okay. Come on down. She was a little anxious. That's good. You have 2 minutes apiece.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tom Hoffman. I'm a executive fellow with the National Police Foundation out of Washington, D.C. I am also the senior public safety advisor for Californians for Safety and Justice. And as importantly, I am a 34-year veteran of California law enforcement. I spent 20 years with the City of Inglewood PD. I moved through the ranks from officer to captain. I then went to West Sacramento PD. I moved through the ranks from captain to deputy chief to interim chief of police. After my retirement in 2004, I was asked by the Schwarzenegger administration in the spring of 2006 to become the director of California Division of Adult Parole Operations. I can tell you no single event in my life changed me as much as that did. If we see the criminal justice system as the police are the input side and parole is the output side, having the intimate understanding of the output of our criminal justice system, and as importantly, understanding very specifically the inner workings of each step in the criminal justice system, it is absolutely no surprise that we have ineffective results frequently. We are here to urge a no on 2369, not to suggest that we are not advocates of, one, finding out factually what has caused any increase in crime in our state and all across our nation, and that we are advocates for incarceration as an alternative, certainly for the most violent and serious in our society. But this bill returns us to the failed practices of the last 40 or so years. I believe that if we've learned anything over the last decades, the incarceration of nonviolent, non-serious offenders for long terms in state prison realizes less than effective results. The truth is this bill has not changed the accountability that's available for misdemeanors in our state. A misdemeanor violation can result in a year in county jail and programming. We urge the committee to consider the fact that change within the law enforcement community is slow and painful. Coordination is often not there. And until and if we all realize that we simply must control the input side of our system, we are going to continue to have the problems that we have.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Marissa Arona. I'm an attorney and I'm the Prop 47 Implementation Director with Californians for Safety and Justice. A big part of my work is working with law enforcement agencies on developing diversion programs. We urge this committee to vote no on AB 2369. As Tom mentioned, this bill would return California to the failed policies of the past instead of advancing the new strategies needed to stop the cycle of crime. We would like to make sure the committee knows that Prop 47 maintains the authority of local criminal justice agencies to arrest, detain, and convict misdemeanants to jail time. Prop 47 also maintains numerous options for pursuing organized retail theft, conspiracy to commit any crime, and identity theft, among others. Across the state, we are seeing criminal justice agencies adapt their local practices to stop the cycle of crime with expanded targeted deterrence prosecution strategies, along with neighborhood problem solving, supervised treatment, and more. Law enforcement assisted diversion is one such model, a program several California cities are piloting that partners law enforcement with treatment providers to address crimes related to drug addiction. This bill would revert back to a broken system rather than advance these burgeoning models forward. This bill will also likely exacerbate racial disparities in a justice system that already experiences high rates of disparities, especially for African American and Latino communities. My organization released a report in 2014 on Latinos in the criminal justice system, showing that Latinos are more likely to receive stringent sentencing and, as crime victims, less likely to have access to victim services. Not surprisingly, our research indicates that most Latino voters support policies that focus less, not more, on incarceration, including rehabilitation and probation over jail sentences. And this is consistent with what most Californians believe. A recent statewide opinion survey found Californians believe we need to go even further than Prop 47 and make additional reforms to shifts in spending priorities into prevention over the failed punishment policies of the past. California voters approved Prop 47 because they have seen the failed results of bloated prisons when too few investments are made into prevention and stopping the cycle of crime. We encourage the committee to urge our public safety leaders to join together with government and community partners to adapt their practices to expand targeted deterrence strategies, diversion, collaborative court models, and neighborhood problem solving. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any witnesses in opposition? State your name and organization.
Glenn Backus, Drug Policy Alliance, opposed.
Natasha Minsker, ACLU of California, opposed.
Jim Lindberg, on behalf of the Friends Committee on Legislation of California, we're in opposition.
Thank you.
Dennis Cuevas Romero, on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice, in opposition.
Thank you.
Khalif Ostagai, on behalf of the California Public Defenders Association, also in opposition.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions from committee members or comments?
Again, Assemblymember Patterson, great respect, but I do have some concerns. One of them is that Prop 47 was passed by the voters. To change anything where it reduced the penalties, it requires that there be a two-thirds vote of the members of both House and signing by the governor, but only if the amendments are consistent with and further the intent of the act. I don't think these do that. Second, to talk about the statistics, while crime has increased in the last 6 months, right after AB 109, crime increased in the first 6 months, and then it went down again. I really think that you cannot tell yet what the consequences of Prop 47 are, and in particular, this sort of uptick in crime happens all the time and may not be at all correlated with anything to do with 47. There's certainly no proof of that. The third thing is, as these are misdemeanors, you can still have jail time, you can still have serious penalties for this. So for that reason, I cannot support the bill.
Thank you. Ms. Melendez?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Patterson, I want to thank you for bringing this bill forward. I want to thank you for your willingness to make some changes that I think make the bill better and strengthen it. I listened to the testimony here, and I hear witnesses stating that wouldn't yield the results that one would want, that this wouldn't stop the cycle of crime, and that rehabilitative efforts are needed. And to that I would say, and how do you suggest we do that? Because Prop 47 took that ability away for the courts to say, if you don't go through these rehabilitative services, then you will be charged with a felony. That's gone now. So the reality is the hands are somewhat tied. You can't force someone to go into these programs anymore like you could before, or at least encourage them very strongly to go through these programs. And I don't know, honestly, I don't... Everyone that I've spoken with from a variety of different counties has made the statement that crime has increased in their communities, and they are drawing a nexus between the passage of Prop 47 and AB 109, more recently, of course, Prop 47, to that increase in crime with property theft, with all different kinds of thefts. And if you look at the analysis, I don't know how anyone could refute that it has not at least some small bearing on the increase in crime. I think that's burying your head in the sand and not wanting to accept it for what it is. Back to the point about this being something, this going against what the voters wanted, well, I flatly disagree with you, because this will go before the voters on the ballot. So the voters who passed Prop 47, who everyone in this room, I'm assuming, would say that the voters, with the best of intentions and fully informed, voted to pass Prop 47, well, those same voters should be allowed to determine whether or not they want to continue with things the way they are with the proposition that they passed. I think if they were smart enough then to make the decision, certainly you can trust them to be smart enough now. For those reasons, I wholeheartedly support your bill, Mr. Patterson. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Mr. Patterson, you may close.
Thank you. I really do appreciate the discussion here, and I want to make just a couple of references to the bad old days. I was a mayor of Fresno from 1993 to 2001, the bad old days. Where we had 15,000 cars being stolen. We had nearly 100 homicides. The bad old days were the days when we made law enforcement and the connection between a penalty and changed behavior a significant part of our policing. The homicide rate went to less than 25 annually. Car thefts declined to something around 3,000. So the idea that there are the bad old days when there was a penalty, swift and sure, and a clear path for an alternative decision to say, I don't want to live like that anymore, I want to make some decisions to change. We have a return again to the bad old days. And it is evidenced with these spikes in crime that are significant and we think linked to what the case of those who are here with respect to the testimony in favor of the bill. I mean, we're seeing guns stolen over and over again. We're seeing stolen property received and utilized over and over and over again. Our local businesses, as you said, the retailers were here. Our local businesses are being held up in broad daylight. They're running shopping carts in and out, and they are daring the security guards and the people at these businesses to do anything about it. Often these are escalating into violent involvement where carjackings take place, where guns get pulled, and we think that this has a direct bearing on the safety and the well-being of people who live in our communities. And I want to just close with this. We all want individuals to make a choice to turn their lives around. But what we are seeing, and the statistics are real, when you see a decline in drug court by 50% in Fresno County, decline in drug courts by 40% in Sacramento County, there is a direct connection between the felony-like behavior that has been decriminalized to a misdemeanor-like behavior, creating this perverse set of circumstances in which we see increasingly more felony-like behavior from criminals. These are the kinds of things we live with in California. We think that's a direct result of unintended consequences, and we think that the remedy that we're proposing here is absolutely reasonable. It says simply, if you do these kinds of misdemeanors 3 times within 3 years, then the courts have the ability, and then law enforcement has the ability to make this felony. We think that's giving people plenty of time to decide and change behavior, but at the same time, we do start to rebuild some of the consequences that we believe led to some of the huge reductions in crime in California during the so-called bad old days. With that, I appreciate the opportunity to present the bill and ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. And, you know, I know from previous times you are not only passionate, you're very sincere about when you bring a bill before this committee. And I want to thank you for bringing the witnesses here, because we do need to hear what's going on the outside. But when I think of the bad old days, the 3 strikes days, to lock them up and throw away the key days, I think as a community at that time, we really felt if we just took them off the street and build a very large prison system and incarcerate them so they can never get back out to society, but don't give an opportunity to get back, that was a conscious decision that the voters made. And that was a conscious decision that a lot of us made. And we took decades to realize that that was a mistake. Prop 47 was instituted by the voters to turn that around, because they really realized that you cannot just lock them up and the problem will go away. What you end up doing is probably making them better criminals. Whatever they went in before, they get better at it when they come out, or they go to another type of activity, like petty crimes when they get out. The true measure of Prop 47 hasn't even been done yet. And I can say that from someone that's the former chair of Budget Sub 5. There's supposed to be over $100 million for recidivism programs. The first tranche of that was supposed to be determined right now. Right now, there's a discussion between the governor and the legislature. We think it's probably close to 150, 130. He thinks it's 29 million. That money is the money that the voters want to get out into the streets so that we can start this recidivism program. And we're not supposed to do it in 1 week, 1 year, or even 5 years. If we would take the same amount of resources and money and put it into what we did with 3 strikes and how we locked people up back in the bad old days, the crack cocaine days, and we put that same amount of resources, then we would have a barometer to see whether or not Prop 47 is actually working. We haven't even, to go back to the voters now when we haven't even fulfilled what they asked us to do, which was start the process of rehabilitating people and giving them an opportunity. We haven't even put the first dollar out, really, in that effort. And that's why I find this just a little premature. Will we have to make adjustments? Absolutely. Will we have to look at what concern with the business community and what concerns with law enforcement? Absolutely, we need to, because there is no proposition, there is no bill that just takes care of everything. But to start to dismantle it before you even give it a chance to actually work, I think is disingenuous to the voters. And so we, I think as legislators, need to give it an opportunity to actually be implemented. And so that's why I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to recommend that the committee vote no, because at the end of the day, to go back to what we know doesn't work is not the way to go. At least give me a few years to even try to make this happen, or at least give government and law enforcement and correctional institutions and the nonprofits out there to try to turn this around. And so I respectfully ask everyone to vote no on this.
AB 2369, the motion is do pass as amended to appropriations. Jones Sawyer?
No.
Jones Sawyer, no. Melendez? Melendez, aye. Lackey? Aye. Lackey, aye. Lopez? Lowe? Quirk?
Yes. No.
Quirk, no. Santiago?
It's on call. Could you do me a favor? Mr. Quirk just needs to get his bill and do it right now, if you don't mind. If you can go, and I'll bring you right back. I promise.